Good afternoon. I feel extremely fortunate to stand before you, a crowd that celebrates innovation and big ideas. We were asked to reflect on what innovation and big ideas can translate to. So you were a part of that, Vanessa, and then what? I immediately thought of 8 million stories, and here's mine. In 1994, my 4th grade class was invited to attend a recruitment session for a 5th grade pilot program, hosted by this 5th grade teacher I had seen in the hallways and this other tall guy I'd never seen before. My 4th grade teacher told my class, "You can trust these guys. Listen to them," she said. "Who knows? It may jumpstart other great things at the school, and you can say you helped do that." That recruitment session was for the Knowledge is Power program, also known as KIPP, now a network of charter schools across the country. What Miss Swender, my 4th grade teacher, learned that year, actually not that year, learned in 2002, when I sent her a thank you note from the freshman dorm of my first choice school after my other first choice school turned me down. Oh, they will regret that. Was that program did so much more than impact my elementary school. That program impacted Vanessa and this nation in the most profound way because it put a stop to using words like impossible, demographics, dictate, destiny, when talking about educating people like me, a Latina who had grown up in a neighborhood where 40% high school graduation rate was the norm, raised by a mother with a 6th grade education and a father that abused alcohol. You see, my 5th grade teachers chose to see beyond the cover. They instead chose to open the book, they put a pen in my hand, and they asked me to write from here and from here. But that first chapter was interesting, and by interesting, I mean very weird. Here's an excerpt of that first chapter. Let me set the scene. It's 1994. I've been in this program for about 2 to 3 months, and the following is what I'm saying, oh, so loudly, in my head. Chapter 1. Why are we sitting on the floor? Why can't we sit in desks like the rest of America's students who, by the way, aren't in school? Because it's summertime. No other district considers June or July a part of the school year. Just you. And why do we also have to earn our pencils, our shirts, and our notebooks? And why do we have to write thank you letters to every person who looks our way? Is it really necessary to thank that Amtrak train conductor that took us from Houston to Chicago? He won't even remember us. Why do you call my mom for everything? And why does she feel like she can call you about anything? How does me not washing the dishes translate to the type of student that sits in your classroom? If you know you can't sing and dance, why are we learning our multiplication tables to Selena's Beady Beady Bomb Bomb? And when will we ever use this? Why did you leave that bag of marshmallows on the table and then walked out? That was strange. Why do you keep telling us we're one team and one family? I thought school and family were 2 completely different worlds. And lastly, I've been staring up at that all of us will learn banner. You don't really believe that, do you? So you were a part of that, Vanessa. And then what? It's May 18, 2002. I'm graduating from a high school I had judged by its cover. 4 years prior, I had considered the idea of me leaving my underperforming neighborhood school to go to a private school across town on a full scholarship. I considered that to be the scariest thing I'd ever had to do. Chapter 2. It's May 2002. I wish I could tell you I was reminiscing fondly about the last 4 years, but I wasn't. I was thinking about the many times I could have raised my hand, pushed my classmates thinking, signed up for a club or organization to learn from Episcopal's diverse student body, been a voice for my community, advocated for myself, asked questions, known the difference between code switching and selling out. And I wish I had realized then just how much KIPP had prepared me to make an impact in the lives of my Episcopal high school peers. But I was also fidgeting excitedly because I was dying to break free of that negative perception I had allowed to define me and leverage my newly acquired sense of self-love and self-understanding. Part of the plan to break free of ignorant Vanessa was to leave Texas and go to a college no KIPPster had ever gone to. Los Angeles sounded nice. And by the look of the pictures in the catalog the college has sent me, Occidental was on the beach. It's May 21st, 2006. Occidental College was not on the beach. I'm standing in line in my cap, gown, and Latino grad regalia. I look out into the crowd. I see my mom, my sisters, my friends, and Mr. Levin, my 5th grade teacher. That moment alone inspired Chapter 3. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me that everything in life is earned. Yes, you were right. A shirt and the desk was only the beginning. You not only helped fight off that bout of self-entitlement that took over my generation, but you instilled in me a drive to work hard and try my best at everything I do. And thank you for teaching me to love saying thank you. I can't seem to stop saying it now. And yes, people have noticed. Oh, and I heard that Amtrak train conductor remembered us KIPPsters even though 12 months had passed and he'd met millions of people. He still remembered KIPP. Now, when people recognize my KIPPisms, I say, even if it sounds cheesy, at KIPP, we remember and we appreciate because we do. Thank you for calling my mom for everything and making her comfortable to call you about anything. You really did see my mama as a partner in my education. And while it was meant to help me, and it did, you really impacted her life by making her feel like she actually had a say and a choice in the matter. And when you sat on my couch to walk my mom and me through the Commitment to Excellence contract, thank you for not using the language barrier as an excuse to do away with the home visit. Thank you for finding a way to ensure my mom understood what her role needed to be. Oh, and I'll never, ever, ever, ever be able to thank you enough for allowing me to witness my mother's twinkling eyes on the day of my college graduation. I know you told me that the view at the top of the mountain would be beautiful, but I really and honestly didn't expect for it to be that beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for singing and dancing along to Selena. You made learning fun, engaging, and relevant to all aspects of my life. Over the last 19 years, I have found myself dancing along to Selena's multiplication tables in my high school and college classrooms, in banks, groceries, libraries, and airplanes. Thank you for that bag of marshmallows and teaching me the significance and the importance and impact of deferred gratification at the age of 10. Even though I thought you were lying when you told us that if we passed that marshmallow test, we'd enjoy greater success as adults, now I know what you meant. And yes, you were right. Self-discipline and resisting the temptation to give up when the going got tough really made that walk across those stages you spoke of feel like I was walking on marshmallows. Man, was it worth the wait. Thank you for teaching me the significance of team and family. I used to believe that family consisted of only those who share your blood, but you, my teachers, taught me that family also consists of those who say, I'll be there and never leave. Also, thank you for making sure we all felt the consequences of any one of my teammates' mistakes. My high school teachers, college professors, employers, family, and friends all noticed the impact of that lesson. I've been called caring, selfless, solution-oriented, and a team player. Oh, and I'll never forget that day in April of 1995 when you sat out in that hallway with my teammates and me who were grieving Selena's death. You had already worked a 15-hour day, and yet you sat out there with us until we shed our last Selena tear. One team, one family. And then what? It's 2013. I'm standing before a crowd of lifelong learners at TEDxSMU, exactly the crowd with whom my 5th grade teachers wanted me to rub shoulders. Sorry, I'm taking in this moment. Whew, feels good. good. Chapter 4. To my teachers. I still remember that all of us will learn better, even though 19 years have passed. Thank you for instilling in me the belief that all of us can and will learn. It didn't make sense in 5th grade and much less in 8th grade, especially when our surroundings forced us to buy into the idea that demography just may dictate destiny. But you, my teachers, you were a worthy opponent, and you actually got me to believe that while I was only the exception to the rule, one day I would be the norm, and my sphere of influence would be no different than those from more affluent neighborhoods. Thank you for developing my sense of self-understanding, self-love, and self-realization. It especially paid off this year when I brought a team together to start 8 Million Stories, a nonprofit organization that's developing a community school model for gang-affiliated and system-involved youth in Houston, because you taught me to look beyond the cover. Like me, my students' surroundings have always spoken for them. But just like you did for me and my peers, I refuse to allow my babies to be reduced to a statistic. My students will value the power of their story. And one day, just maybe, they may be standing at this very TEDxSMU stage, sharing there and then. The epilogue. 8 Million Stories was started in direct response to the school-to-prison pipeline the school-to-prison pipeline crises, that we're experiencing in our very communities. But why go so far? I was labeled without knowing it, and I only found out when I took that one sociology class in college. Apparently, and demographically speaking, I was supposed to be the poster child for teen pregnancy. The statistics said that I had a 1 in 3 chance of walking across any stage, but a 1 in 1 chance of getting pregnant by the age of 16 and working on the second one by 18. And yet, 2 caring souls rolled up their sleeves, they got to work, and left the finger pointing to those deflecting guilt and shame. I didn't understand the power of labels until I was in my 5th grade teacher's shoes last year and heard the most heartbreaking words, "Those kids can't learn." As I was writing my charter, it asked, "Who's competing for your students?" "Oh, you mean my gang-affiliated, suspended, and expelled students? Who's competing for them?" Thank you. I wrote, "No one, unfortunately." And I made the following commitment to the educationally underserved communities my students will be coming from. First of all, to the person who said my babies can't learn. My babies, Houston's most vulnerable students, will learn. So you might as well get used to being proved wrong right now. Secondly, I refuse to glorify the 5th grade graduate and further encourage the belief that that may be the last time mom or dad will see their baby in a cap and gown. My students will understand that that 5th and 8th grade tradition is simply a promotion, and that they will wear their cap and gown when they complete high school and college if they so choose. I refuse to allow my students to believe that they're going to be an exception to the rule, that they will fall victim to low expectations, because success will become the rule and the norm. I will not be afraid to ask what they're working on, what they want to be when they grow up, or what their goals are, because I will hold myself accountable for developing the answers that I am seeking. And I refuse to allow my students to believe that their story was chosen for them, or that it's permanent, because by doing so, I have victimized them and relinquished their power. Instead, my students will understand the healing power of their untold story, made up of the words they so choose to define them. Stephen King once wrote, "There are books full of great writing that don't have very good stories. Read sometimes for the stories. Don't be like the book snobs who won't do that. Read sometimes for the words, the language. Don't be like the play it safers who won't do that. But when you find a book that has both a good story and good words, treasure that book. My name is Vanessa Ramirez. I'm a part of 8 Million Stories, and this was mine. Thank you.